Henry VIII, a man used to getting his own way, was utterly captivated by Anne Boleyn. His fascination with her was unlike anything he had experienced before. Anne was not just another lady of the court, she was a woman of remarkable wit, intelligence, and charm. Her presence was magnetic, drawing Henry in with an intensity that he could not resist. Her refusal to be his mistress only intensified his desire. Anne was not swayed by the king's advances, and this resistance only made her more alluring to Henry. She was determined to maintain her dignity and refused to be just another conquest. Her defiance was a bold statement, in a time when women were expected to be compliant and submissive. He showered her with gifts and attention, but Anne remained resolute. Henry's attempts to win her over with lavish presents and promises of affection were met with polite but firm refusals. Anne's steadfastness was a testament to her strength of character and her vision for a future that went beyond mere courtly romance. She wouldn't settle for a fleeting affair. Anne had her sights set on something far greater. She envisioned herself not just as a lover, but as a queen. Her ambition was clear, and she was willing to wait for the right moment to achieve her goals. This determination set her apart from others and made her a formidable figure in the Tudor court. Anne wanted more. She wanted to be his queen. Her aspirations were not just for personal gain, but for a position of power and influence. She saw herself as a partner to the king, someone who could stand beside him and help shape the future of England. This vision was both ambitious and revolutionary for a woman of her time. Henry, blinded by his infatuation, embarked on a course that would shatter centuries of tradition. His desire for Anne led him to make decisions that would have far-reaching consequences. He was willing to challenge the established order and take on the might of the Catholic Church to make Anne his queen. He sought an annulment from his wife, Catherine of Aragon. This was no small matter, as Catherine was a beloved queen and a devout Catholic. The annulment was not just a personal issue, but a political and religious one that would shake the foundations of the kingdom. The Catholic Church, with its strict rules and ancient laws, stood in his way. The Church's refusal to grant the annulment set the stage for a monumental conflict. Henry's determination to marry Anne would lead to a break with Rome and the establishment of the Church of England. This was a dangerous game, fraught with political and religious implications. The stakes were incredibly high, and the outcome was uncertain. The court was a hotbed of intrigue and tension, with factions forming around the issue of the king's marriage and the future of the kingdom. Anne, however, was not just a passive observer in this high-stakes drama. She was an active participant, using her intelligence and charm to influence the king and those around him. Her role in these events was crucial, and she was well aware of the power she wielded. She was an intelligent and ambitious woman. Anne's education and sharp mind made her a formidable player in the political and religious upheavals of the time. She was not content to simply follow the king's lead. She had her own ideas and ambitions that she pursued with determination. She used her influence to bolster Henry's resolve. Anne's support and encouragement were vital in helping Henry make the difficult decisions that would lead to the break with Rome. She was a source of strength and inspiration for the king, and her influence was felt throughout the court. She encouraged him to break free from Rome's control and establish himself as the supreme head of the church in England. This was a bold and unprecedented move, but Anne's vision and determination helped make it a reality. The establishment of the Church of England was a turning point in English history, and Anne's role in this transformation was significant. The love affair between Henry and Anne was the talk of the court, whispered in hushed tones and gossiped about in secret. The scandalous nature of their relationship only added to the intrigue and tension at court. Everyone was watching to see how the drama would unfold and what the consequences would be. It was a scandal of epic proportions. The affair between the king and Anne Boleyn was not just a personal matter, but a public spectacle that captivated the entire kingdom. The court was in turmoil, with alliances shifting and power dynamics changing as a result of the king's actions. But amidst the whispers and rumors, a new religious order was taking shape. The Reformation was a time of profound change, and the events surrounding Henry and Anne were at the heart of this transformation. The establishment of the Church of England marked the beginning of a new era in English history, an order born out of desire, ambition, and the unwavering will of a king and his queen. Together, Henry and Anne reshaped the religious and political landscape of England. Their story is one of passion, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of power, leaving an indelible mark on history. Anne Boleyn's influence extended beyond matters of the heart. She was not just a figure of romance and intrigue, she was a woman of intellect and conviction. Her presence at court was not merely ornamental but deeply impactful, shaping the very fabric of English history. She had been exposed to the burgeoning Protestant movement during her time in France. This period was crucial in her development, as she absorbed the revolutionary ideas that were sweeping across Europe. The French court, with its vibrant intellectual atmosphere, was a melting pot of new religious thoughts and debates. This movement questioned the authority of the Pope and emphasized a direct relationship with God. It was a radical departure from the established norms of the Catholic Church, advocating for a more personal and direct form of worship. The reformers argued for the translation of the Bible into vernacular languages, making it accessible to the common people. Anne found herself drawn to these ideas. The notion of an individual's direct connection with the divine resonated deeply with her. She spent countless hours reading and contemplating these new religious texts, finding in them a sense of purpose and direction. They resonated with her own independent spirit. Anne was known for her strong will and determination, qualities that set her apart in a male-dominated society. Her embrace of Protestant ideas was not just a personal belief, but a statement of her autonomy and intellectual independence. She became a vocal advocate for religious reform in England. Her influence extended to the highest echelons of power, where she passionately argued for the adoption of Protestant principles. Anne's advocacy was not without risk, as it placed her in direct opposition to the powerful Catholic establishment. She shared her views with Henry. Their relationship was not just romantic, but also deeply intellectual. Anne's ideas and arguments found a receptive audience in Henry, who was already grappling with his own religious and political dilemmas. He was already seeking a way out of his marriage. His union with Catherine of Aragon had failed to produce a male heir, and Henry was desperate for a solution. The Pope's refusal to annul his marriage left him in a precarious position, both personally and politically. Anne's support for Protestantism provided a convenient solution. Her ideas offered Henry a way to break free from the constraints of the Catholic Church. By embracing Protestantism, he could justify his divorce and marry Anne, whom he believed could give him the male heir he so desperately desired. It offered a way to legitimize his divorce and assert his own authority over the Church. Henry saw in Protestantism an opportunity to consolidate his power and establish himself as the supreme head of the Church in England. This move would not only solve his marital issues, but also significantly enhance his political control. With Anne as his confidant and advisor, Henry made the momentous decision to break from Rome. This decision was not taken lightly, as it meant severing ties with the powerful Catholic Church and its vast network of influence. Anne's unwavering support and counsel were instrumental in this bold move. This led to the establishment of the Church of England. The creation of a national church under the king's control was a revolutionary act that redefined the religious landscape of the country. It marked the beginning of a new era in English history, one characterized by religious and political upheaval. It was a seismic shift in power, with far-reaching consequences. The break from Rome not only altered the religious affiliations of the nation, but also triggered a series of events that would reshape the political and social order. The Reformation set the stage for centuries of religious conflict and transformation. England, once a devoutly Catholic nation, was now on a new path. The transition to Protestantism was not smooth, as it faced resistance from those loyal to the old faith. However, the seeds of change had been planted, and there was no turning back. A path towards religious independence and, some would argue, towards Anne's own vision for the future. Anne's role in this transformation was pivotal, as she envisioned a nation free from the constraints of papal authority, where individuals could worship according to their conscience. The seeds of the English Reformation had been sown. The debates and discussions that Anne had been a part of were now taking root across the country. The movement she had championed was gaining momentum, challenging the old order and paving the way for a new religious paradigm. The consequences of this radical change would reverberate through the ages. The Reformation was not just a religious shift, but a catalyst for broader social and political changes. It influenced the development of modern democracy, individual rights, and the separation of church and state. It would shape the religious and political landscape of England for centuries to come. The legacy of Anne Boleyn and the Reformation she helped inspire is still felt today, as the principles of religious freedom and personal faith continue to be cornerstones of modern society. In 1533, Anne Boleyn's ambitions were realized. After years of careful maneuvering and enduring the scorn of many, she finally ascended to the throne as Queen of England. Henry VIII, having defied the Pope and annulled his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, made Anne his queen. This bold move not only altered the course of English history, but also set the stage for the English Reformation. It was a triumphant moment for Anne, a testament to her unwavering will and her ability to navigate the treacherous waters of courtly life. Her intelligence, charm, and political acumen had brought her to this pinnacle of power. However, Anne's reign was short-lived and fraught with challenges. The court was a hotbed of intrigue and betrayal, and Anne found herself constantly under scrutiny. Her enemies at court, those who had remained loyal to Catherine and the Catholic Church, whispered against her. They saw her as an interloper, a woman who had disrupted the natural order of things. They spread rumors and sought to undermine her position. Every misstep, every perceived slight, was magnified and used against her. Anne's greatest challenge, however, came from within the marriage itself. Henry, once so enamored with her, began to grow distant and irritable. Henry, desperate for a male heir to secure the Tudor dynasty, grew increasingly impatient. Elizabeth I was born on September 7, 1533. Henry was furious as now, in his second marriage, he had been given yet another unwanted daughter, another female whom, like her half-sister Mary, would not be able to carry on his Tudor name and dynasty. After Elizabeth, Anne suffered miscarriages, each one a devastating blow to her hopes and her standing. Each miscarriage was yet another nail in the coffin that was her marriage to the king. This destroyed Anne both personally and politically. The pressure to produce a son weighed heavily upon her, and the court's whispers grew louder. Henry had already decided his relationship with Anne was doomed. Their once passionate love affair turned into a series of bitter arguments and cold silences. Despite the challenges, Anne proved to be a capable and influential queen. She was not content to be a mere figurehead. She actively engaged in the politics of the realm. She used her position to promote education and religious reform. Anne was a patron of the arts and a supporter of the new learning that was sweeping through Europe. She championed the cause of the poor. Her charitable works and her efforts to improve the lives of the less fortunate earned her the admiration of many. She brought a new energy and vitality to the English court. Her presence was a breath of fresh air, and she inspired those around her to strive for greatness. But it was not enough to quell the simmering discontent and the ever-present threat from those who wished to see her downfall. The court was a dangerous place, and Anne's enemies were always lurking in the shadows, waiting for their chance to strike. Despite her many accomplishments, Anne's fate was sealed by the very forces she had once so skillfully navigated. Henry wanted her gone. In 1536, just 3 years after her coronation, Anne Boleyn was arrested, tried and executed on charges of treason, adultery and incest. Her fall from grace was swift and brutal. To this day, nobody truly knows if the rumors of adultery were even true, or just a ruse to rid an obsessed king of a seemingly useless wife. Anne Boleyn's legacy, however, endures. She remains one of the most fascinating and enigmatic figures in English history, a woman whose ambition and intelligence left an indelible mark on the world. Her daughter, Elizabeth I, would go on to become one of England's greatest monarchs, a testament to Anne's enduring influence and the complex legacy she left behind. Following Anne's execution, Henry turned his attention to finding a new wife who could provide the son he longed for. Jane Seymour, who had been a lady-in-waiting to Anne, quickly became Henry's focus. Their relationship developed rapidly in the wake of Anne's downfall, and Jane's calm and composed demeanor stood in sharp contrast to Anne's earlier flamboyance. Henry married Jane on May 30th, 1536, just days after Anne's execution, driven by hope that she would give him the male heir he desperately sought.